Hey everybody, Matt with the Low Cash Homestead. So I'm going to give you a little update on the farm, kind of show you what's going on, and give you a little garden walk. Alright, we are starting in what is the cheapo greenhouse. The cheapo greenhouse is kind of coming apart. It's framed, it didn't really last that long, but for 69 bucks or whatever, not a huge deal. So let me show you, this is where we start most of our things. We did automate it. It's the cover is off the cheapo greenhouse now. We don't really need it, but for starting everything, we did automate it. So that makes hardening off your plants so much easier because you have all your automation controls, your temperature sensors and timers. And so for $100, you can spend $100 in automation controls off the shelf or from Amazon, whatever, and you can make your life so much easier with you don't have to take the plants out, anything like that. All we did was open the covers and unplug the automation controls, and that's how we hardened off everything. That happened months ago. What I have left are some little starts. These are things that I've been selling at farmers market. We have a selection of sunflowers. Those are going to be planted, more sunflowers. These are actually Black Beauty eggplants. We just got those up planted, and they have lots and lots of different sunflowers. They have probably 20 varieties of sunflowers, and we're going to just plant those around. And some of them are seed varieties, others are ornamentals, things like that. One thing I did want to note, I know some of you guys really like these little grow bags. I'm finding out that I'm not a huge fan of them. The smaller ones are ridiculously difficult to fill, and they require constant attention, meaning they don't hold moisture. These are hefty cups, and I just melt some holes in the bottom. These hold moisture. These little grow bags, they do allow for air pruning and stuff, but they don't hold moisture very well. They require constant attention, and if you're pretty much like a one-man show like I am, or like the Low Cash Homestead farm is, then I've had a lot of plants die in those little grow bags. It's just they don't hold moisture, and these have ProMix in them, so it's not the soil mixture. I believe it to be the bag, so I will not be using those anymore. And let's face it, these little solo cups are way more cost-effective as well. Let's take a look at some other stuff. So we're going to move, I showed in other videos before, this is all automated. This is gutter melt cable that's in here, and I borrowed that from another channel, and I think it was Spring Hill Farms, I don't remember exactly. These are the 4x8 mats that are under here, and these boxes do drain. It's been raining for the last week, so everything's been well watered. It's been raining for the last week, so everything that's out in the open has been well watered. We're going to go over here. This is this ground control fabric. I got turned on to this ground control fabric by Living Traditions, and I was a little snarky in the comments, when they were showing the material, and I was a little snarky, and I was like, who would have thought that, successful weed mitigation would begin with ground control fabric. And then I'd never used ground control fabric. We'd done a lot of like Back to Eden stuff. As I call it deep compost method. I don't call it Back to Eden, but we've done a lot with that. And then I decided that I can do both. I can actually peel this up in the fall and do my deep composting and put it right back down. So over here I have melons, lots of varieties of melons. We have crimsons, we have jubilees, we have mango hybrids, we have cantaloupes, and there are more over on the EB table, the ebb and flow table, which I will show you later. But we spaced everything 3 feet on this, and I bought the 6-foot wide film. Or it's not film, it's more fabric, but I bought the 6-foot wide fabric. Everything in my garden is on some kind of irrigation. In this case, we're using 12-inch strip tape. And this is like a 60-foot run of watermelons by 6, 12, 18 wide. Everything also runs on this 0.70 irrigation tubing right here. And then the little connectors, we have two kinds, the green kind and then the kind with the valve, and those came from Haas Tools. A little bit more than I wanted to pay, but not as bad as some other places. That brings us over to the cat tunnel. A couple things I want to talk about the cat tunnel. The cat tunnel is great with a couple of exceptions. And that is you get 10 seconds of rain and the plastic pulls down and these little plastic stays punch holes in your cat tunnel. So you can rearrange how you bunch the plastic and all kinds of things, and we've tried that, and it doesn't really make a single bit of difference. Anytime you get any little bit of rain, it pulls that plastic down and you end up with holes in it. So I've got holes in like every place where I have one of these little stays, because you get 10 seconds of rain and it pulls the plastic down and now you got a hole to fix. So that's my main complaint with the cat tunnel. Let's take a look. We're gonna go inside the cat tunnel through our machinery door. And the caterpillar tunnel is my tomato, pepper, eggplant house. So we can see we're stringing our tomatoes, and I've got lots of little tomato buds, and I've actually got lots of little tomatoes all through the cat tunnel. Here's more tomatoes there, more tomatoes there. There's one of my cats. And I'm pretty heavy on pruning these. I pruned these a few days ago with the nutrient solution that we're feeding them. This gets a 655 to get them going. It got a 655, and that is a product called Organic Plant Magic, and that is OMRI listed. We are certified naturally grown, so I have to use OMRI listed and natural fertilization methods or organic products. Even though we are not organic, we are certified naturally grown, which is a bit different, and in my opinion a little bit better, because you can do things in organic that you cannot do in certified naturally grown. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rows of tomatoes. Each row is another variety, and I have them all labeled, but I don't remember exactly what everything is. I do remember these are New Girls. These are Black Crims, followed by Speckled Romans. I think we have Speckled Romans here. These are, that's the pepper that's growing between them. I have them labeled somewhere else. I'm not finding the label at the moment. And then here we have, this is a 68-day tomato, and it is a clementine. And then we have our Black Beauty eggplants planted in between. We've interplanting. I do that for a number of reasons. Eggplants and peppers can get sun scald, so you use the shade from the tomatoes to keep the sun scald and sun spotting off the peppers and eggplants. We string and clip. I don't use cages. I have used cages in the past, but I don't. We actually have some little volunteers. That's looks like a little cucumber. And then yeah, peppers, all different kinds of peppers, from bell peppers, everything but hot peppers. You can't put your hot peppers along with your sweet peppers or bell peppers. You'll get a pollination issue, and you'll get a pepper that is hot and sweet, which is delicious, I think, but for the consumer can be confusing. So we have 5 rows in here. We got one little fan there. See, there's another hole right there. We got 10 seconds of rain, and it forced my plastic down and ripped a hole in it. So I'm still trying to figure out that. We've tried pleating the plastic in different ways, and that doesn't work. So my main complaint about the cat tunnel is, does it keep the tomatoes dry? Yes. But every time it rains, I get a new hole. Dragon fruits. Dragon fruits have multiplied quite well. The post did break off of that one, but I haven't had the time to put a new post in it and dig all that up, and they're still doing just fine, and I'm hoping that we'll get some buds and start getting some fruits on those pretty soon. So that's the cat tunnel, and again, we have bell peppers and lunchbox peppers and sweet peppers and banana peppers, eggplants. I was not able to get the Thai eggplants, but I was able to get the Black Beauties, and those were actually behind schedule. Some of you guys that are actual farmers and even a lot of you homesteaders have probably experienced supply chain issues. The CFAP launched on the 26th, so if you are a farm and you're recognized as a farm, then you can start filing for supply chain losses. I talked to my FSA office yesterday, and they're still sorting through documentation for my specific requirements. Okay, so we're going to step out of the cat tunnel. Again, there's the cheapo greenhouse. Here I have onions. The onions got a little bit out of control. I haven't had a lot of time to weed those, but they are growing, and I have to pull some stuff out of the onions. Let's talk about another area. We're going to walk this way because it's less muddy. And there's some cardboard that I put out to use, and it's just been raining. So I've had a severe issue, supply chain issue with potatoes this year. We do have a couple of rows. These have been in for a while, so they're going to be done before the others. But these are Kennebecs, and then the labels are on the other end. And I have Red New Orleans and French fingerlings and Russian bananas in here, and some more Kennebecs, a few russets, and some golds. We lost our Belmonda. We lost our Magic Molly. We lost our Adirondack Blue, and we lost another variety, which I'm missing off the top of my head, due to supply chain issues because of COVID-19 and all the panic that's been happening with COVID-19. Interplanted with the potatoes is a secondary run. These are our bush beans. I don't usually do a whole lot with bush beans, but some varieties are only available in bush beans. I prefer pole beans. That's less bending for me and easier on my spine. So here are beans and potatoes. We have a couple rows of potatoes right over there that have been in the ground for a while, and they are coming up. And I don't wait to mound my potatoes. I put my seed potatoes down, I put my organic fertilizer, I put my compost on top, and I just pile it up and let it go. I don't worry about it from there. I don't remound them. I don't wait to mound them. I don't let them grow before I mound them or anything. I just mound them, and that has worked out quite well for me. Let's move over here. This garden, and if you look at the ground control fabric, you can see that it's kind of skewed a little bit, and that was done intentionally. This garden, we expanded its size. We grew a lot of tomatoes and squashes and stuff over here, but this is another one of our lettuce gardens, and I skewed the garden a little bit because I needed to get it in the shade line, and that's because, and I am having a critter issue that is coming eating my lettuces, and I think it's could be skunk. Skunk like to eat critters out of the ground, but they're not eating the lettuce, which leads me to believe that it's not deer. I haven't caught whatever's out here yet, but I don't believe it's deer because they're not actually eating the food. They're eating stuff out of the ground. Here, this section right here, from here, and I'm going to walk sideways so we can get through to here, is a crop that traditionally you would never plant this time of year. They, quote, they say you cannot grow this crop at this zone at this time of year. Well, we're doing it. And it's so far, and we're going to see how the final product is, so far, it's a success. And that is Brussels sprouts. Now, after about 11 to 12 o'clock, this area gets pretty good shade, which is why we skewed the garden to get it into the shade line for a lot of our lettuces. Now, some of these lettuces, as we look down the line, this is all lettuces. Some of these are heat tolerant, others are not. You can see down there, I think those plants got a little bit stressed. The shade comes to them a little bit later. Probably 20-30 minutes later, and they have bolted. I left them in there simply for pollination purposes. But these are all Brussels sprouts. The lettuces are on a weeping line versus a drip tape. The weeping line was to help keep the system cool. We also have another set. These are bush sprinklers. You can buy them at Walmart for $1 a piece. And then the little cutoff riser is like 50 cents. And then we built this to it. And that allows me to create an evaporative cooler. Okay, if I want to evaporate more of the system, then I have this tripod hammer sprinkler. And if you adjust it right, you can get it down to a pretty decent mist. And it circles around and keeps everything misty. Also, same ground control cover here. And then we have broccolis, cabbages, and lots of different things in this area. We have several types of specialty cauliflower. We have white cauliflower. We have Romanesco. We have Flame Star. That's an orange cauliflower. Another row of Flame Star. These are broccolis. And then we have more lettuces down here. We have a blank space. And this blank space is because I still have Chinese cabbages and some other things that are likely going to go here. I left that blank space, and then we allotted room for our squashes and zucchinis. There's 5 types of squashes, 5 types of zucchinis, 3 types of squashes in this area, and ground fabric and drip tape. Now, most of this garden used the deep compost method. The expansion, what we did is we just bored the holes, and I use like an awesome auger. To be totally honest, pick one up at a yard sale. You take your flamethrower and you burn your hole, and then you use your awesome auger and you auger it out, and you fill it full of compost and your Jobs or whatever organic variety fertilizer you're using, and then you put your plants in there, and they have doubled in a week. So that seems to be working quite well for us. So we have you know, our spinaches, or excuse me, we have our zucchinis and squashes and stuff here. We have a lot of our brassicas here. We have more lettuce back there, and it is starting to rain again. Of course, there's chickens and more chickens, and I haven't been able to get that part of the lawn cut. And also, this is the first year we have quadrupled our output this year, and it's the first year that I've had to buy compost. I make it out of my lawn, and I use the mulch maker to do that, but I was not able to produce enough compost. And we did plant some stands of sorghum Sudan grass and some other things. They have not yet taken off, and it's actually been quite a bit cooler than normally it is for this time of year. But we've also had major temperature fluctuations. It was 92 degrees yesterday. It's 68 degrees today. So, and then we had some trouble with maintenance here, and again, it's just the rain and some of the equipment that I've had here. And then inside the greenhouse, let's take a look. We have a few potatoes. I put a few potatoes in the greenhouse just to get them going. And I'm curious, these potatoes are actually starting to flower. And potatoes will put out a fruit. We commonly think of the potato as the fruit. Well, the potato is the tuber, but they will also put out a little green fruit that looks like, kind of like a little green tomato. And I'm thinking that these potatoes might actually put those little potato fruits out. One second, I gotta kick a cat out of my lettuce bed. Go on, Lily. So I'm hoping that we'll get those little potato fruits, and then we'll have another source, because you can grow potatoes from seed from the potato fruit. I've never done it, but I found a potato book when I was at the library one day while the kids were doing some stuff, and it's raining again. You can hear it. We're inside our commercial grow span right now, and so I want to try growing potato from the potato fruit seed, because potatoes will set a fruit that is not just the potato. Okay, here we have a bunch of our high dollar stuff. Our Salanovas, we have 4 varieties of colored Salanovas down this row, 4 varieties of incised Salanovas, and then I have my specialty mini romaines, which is the, let's see, the Dragoon. It's the Dragoon, the Monte Carlo, the Breen, and the, I don't know how to say this, Truchas. It's Truchas. And those are all planted down through here. These don't get very big. Right around in this size here, you know, and then so we'll be harvesting those soon and putting more in. The Salanovas can go for a bit longer, and the Salanovas, I've been pulling almost $4 a head on the Salanovas. Here we have a specialty cauliflower. This is graffiti. It's purple. It's a purple cauliflower. We have more broccolis down this line. This is not a fancy broccoli. This is your basic 29 broccoli. Some of them are starting to bolt. We had some very strange temperature fluctuations. How much broccoli I'm going to get out of this inside one, I don't know. They have bolted. I left them for the purposes of pollinators. But we do have some really nice looking heads coming up here that are looking really, really good. And I actually ordered a misting system. Obviously, I'm not going to need it today, but I ordered a misting system, 60-foot misting system that we're going to install on this side of the high tunnel. Cat, you're pissing me off. He's digging up my carrots. I don't know what it is about this cat, but he likes to eat the carrot greens. So we're putting a misting system in here. I got a lot more broccoli outside, but never done broccoli in a greenhouse before, and we're just giving it a try. And then here we have another type of cabbage, and this is just a green market cabbage, and these went in later than the other market cabbages that I'm going to show you. This is garlics and elephant garlics, and I actually pulled a bunch of elephant garlics and they went over really, really well. Now this was a soft neck garlic, and I pulled one out and they're not ready, but the elephant garlics, I did pull several elephant garlics out of this box here, and they went really, really well at market. We have more garlics here, and then I pulled French breakfast radishes I had in this box, and beet greens. Now I don't usually grow the beets full grown. I'll let them grow till they're about 3-4 inches tall, about like so, and I'll pull them up. You get a little tiny beet on the bottom, and then you get the fresh greens, and those sold like madness. I got a little bit of weeding to do here in the middle. You do get weeds in raised boxes. They're a lot easier to control, but yeah, you do get them. This box had Danvers half-longs. These things grew to be enormous, and I believe that part of it is the way that I build the soil, and the other part is the nutrient cocktail that I give them. And then on this we have Gita beans, as well as muncher cucumbers, and they're coming up. Now, on that trellis there, you'll see we got vines growing up. I didn't even plant those. Those are all volunteers. Most of the tomato stuff that's over in these boxes are volunteers. I have thinned them and thinned them and thinned them, and they just keep coming, just keep coming. I had pak choi in here. We had a couple heat waves, and that pak choi just went. So I pulled it up, and we're going to put something else there. This box had the famous Adelaide Carrot. That is a baby carrot. I got it from Johnny's, and it was extremely popular this last week at market. I sold out of them, and was there a lot? No, but I did pull about $100 just on carrots. And you can fit quite a few carrots in here if you are meticulous about your spacing. You can fit a lot of carrots in a 3 by, these are 3 by 12. Actually no, these are 3 by 9. So these are 3 by 9 boxes. You can fit a lot of carrots in a 3 by 9 box. They were interplanted with elephant garlic, and part of the reason I did that is the elephant garlic being a root crop, it seemed to do quite well on the carrot fertilizer that I was using, and that was a OMRI listed fertilizer. All of my fertilizers and methods have to be natural because of the certified naturally grown. Okay, there are a couple exceptions, but I can't market those as certified naturally grown. I'll show you those here in a minute. Here we have lots of cabbages. This is candy red cabbage. We have a green market, and then in this line it's candy red, green, red, green all the way through. These little green cabbages are starting to form beautiful little heads. And when we harvest these, what we'll likely do is we'll pull every other one, and that will give room for the next ones to come up. Here's another bed of carrots. This one is a Bordello. They are not ready. I stuck my finger down in there and checked them out. They are not ready. And then we have, we'll take a little step over here. We have another line of carrots here, another line of carrots here, another line of carrots here. What I found from selling at the different markets is that carrots don't usually keep coming through the season. You have farmers that grow them and you get a big batch of carrots, and then you don't. And most carrots are more of a colder season. I bought heat tolerant varieties, and so the goal, and we're going to find out how well it works, the goal is to be able to provide carrots all summer, because carrots at my farmer's market, they sell well. I can command a premium from them, and I can usually get between $3.50 and $4 for every 5 carrots. And they sell well. Okay, let's take a look at some other stuff. Here, I finally got a weed dragon, and that thing has become instrumental in bread preparation, along with, and you guys have heard me and seen me talk about this thing a number of times, this little oscillating tool. Think of it as a tiny little harrow. Now you could go to Farmer's Friend and you could get a harrow that runs on a power drill and it'll cost you $1,000, or you could go to Amazon and get this little thing and, you know, 3 extra batteries for less than $150. I use it constantly. It is especially great for weeding, and usually what I'll do is I'll grind the weeds up and then I'll burn them off. I just started doing that since we got the weed dragon. But this little tool is fantastic. It's a 20-volt lithium tool, and it has proved to be instrumental. Also with the no-till, we are now no-till. Hi, baby, what are you doing? Why are you running around in the rain? I thought you left. I can't hear you, sweet baby. Come here. What was squawking at you? There's nothing in there, cat. Oh, I don't know. I was just in there. What? No, it's supposed to be delivered this afternoon. They said this afternoon.
Yeah, but it's raining. Are they going to come or not? I don't want to start clearing stuff out, putting it outside. It's going to be wet and then twice as heavy.
Well, why don't we designate a place, and then you can put the junk there, and then we'll just have to get rid of the junk. We're also doing spring cleaning. And we have a huge dumpster. Oh, you are so cute! Did you go up and do the stuff for your lady already? Okay. Run, baby, you're getting soaked! Oh my God, she is so hot. I can't help it, my wife, I love my woman. She is fantastic. And now she's running in the rain and looking all sexy. Okay, let's get back to the garden before I get all wound up. Haven't put anything else in here. I'm still kind of deciding what I'm gonna do there. I might put more carrots in here. I have 6 varieties that I got from Johnny's, and I've planted all 6. And I have a couple varieties that I got retail. The retail varieties I'm less excited about. But I'll probably put more carrots in there. That's Gita beans and muncher cucumbers. Here are red noodle and little leaf cucumbers. The little leaf cucumber is a pickler. In these tomato boxes, now these tomato boxes I did plant. These have Jasper cherries, and where's the other tag? It's a cherry, because all the cherry tomatoes are growing in the commercial house, whereas the slicer and beefsteak varieties are growing in the cat tunnel, and that's simply because I don't sell my cherry tomatoes by type. I sell them as like a medley, and it just makes harvesting a lot easier. I put a tag in here. Actually, I think these are all Jaspers, and I got a few weeds, and there's also onions right down that line, and I've got some weed eating to do in here. And one thing that I have decided is, with the introduction of, it's pouring rain, it's so heavy raining. With that commercial ground fabric, I've decided that we're gonna do a hybrid system, which is our deep compost, and then we'll cover it at the end of the year. At the end of the year, we're gonna pull that fabric back in descending order, and then we'll pile it with our deep compost, and then we'll put it back. And we can do the same thing in here. We just have to cut around all the boxes. And again, here's another look at the cabbages. And these cabbages are really starting to head up nicely, and our red varieties have a longer day on them, but these green cabbage is a shorter day, and these are really, really heading up nicely. In this bed is the Jasper tomato and another cherry type. And then if you look down there, right down in this area here, that's all volunteers, and I pulled the crap out of those volunteers. We also have Gita beans in here, and the Gita bean did really well for me last year at market, so we're going to grow it again. This is spinach. It started to bolt. We sold about 40 pounds of giant spinach 2 weeks ago, and my customers are coming back, and I told them when I sold it, and that's the name of the spinach. It's the giant noble spinach, and you can get a leaf like that out of it, and it can still be pretty tender. Most people didn't seem to care. They're like, we're gonna saute it. Can you saute it? Absolutely, you can saute it. This is Bloomsdale spinach, a little bit smaller, but with the temperature changes we've had in the last few days, it's starting to go. So that might have to come out, and we'll put something else in here. This bed is almost all volunteer tomatoes. I have thinned and thinned and thinned this, and it's because, I'm gonna be honest here, when I cull tomatoes, I just have a tendency to throw them on the ground, you know, or at the last frost when a bunch of them came down, I just left them there and I turned them in. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go back in the ground, right? Well, then I have volunteer tomatoes like madness, and we're gonna have to prune and start training these into the trellis. You know, tomatoes don't actually climb on their own. More spinach here. These tomatoes I planted, and the tag is on the other end. They're most likely Jaspers. I had a surplus of Jasper. Some of the things I did not plant in here. I didn't plant any vines in this box. They're coming out on their own. These are all volunteers, so that's totally fine. More spinach there. This box here, we recycled this. It was a carrot test bed. It's a cedar box that a buddy of mine gave me, and I bartered some Jerusalem artichokes from a woman for some microgreens. And so all we're doing here is cultivating tubers. So we switched this box over. We tested the carrots. We know it's going to work. They're doing great in these boxes. And so all I'm doing in this Jerusalem artichoke box is cultivating tubers. Here's our control system. Right here, we have our fertilizer injector system connected. We actually went to the 1 gallon constant pressure bottle, because non-pressurized bottle, because I ran out of time one day or whatever and did not decompress it. This is our hydro system. We are growing some specialty stuff in the hydro system. This is an Edix tomato, and again, I string tomatoes. I don't cage them. If they were Romas or something like that, I would let them grow all over the ground. I've done that with Romas, and it actually worked out quite well. But for these specialties, these little Edix tomatoes and stuff, not a chance. They're all strung on strings. We have 2 different pumps pumping 2 different lines. I made a video the other day. Bumblebee Junction made me wonder. They were planting carrots in a bucket, and I wondered, can I grow carrots in hydroponics? Well, hey. And this was just some cheapo 50-cent seed carrots that I got from who knows where. I don't even remember. And look at that. Carrots are growing. Same thing. These hydro. Now all these hydro, those are all Edix in that run. And everything prior to that is New Girl. That is a 55-day tomato. And they are growing like madness. I've actually had a little bit of trouble keeping up with these because they're growing so quickly. and then bell peppers in between. We have leaves. We have little tomatoes. This one I actually had to prune down. I'm trying to keep them all single stem. That can be difficult once they take off. If you know, have someone that helps you a little bit more regularly, then that's probably less of an issue. But for me, it's a single man. I'm a single man show. Now I do have a lot of kids, and normally they help. But my Mrs. Low Cash Homestead is in the medical field, and she has been completely freaked out by the COVID thing, and so they have been mostly inside. And now things are starting to lighten up, and cases are starting to drop, and things like that. So we've been able to go to the resort a couple of times, and we spent most of yesterday tearing it up on little mini bikes and hot rod Christmas gifts. That we've only been able to play with a few times. In fact, we were just having so much fun on these mini bikes that it's actually my fault. I actually tore off down one of the gravel roads down here a little bit too hard and broke the master link in the primary drive chain. So I'm gonna have to go up to the motorcycle shop and get a new link for that. That's about 40 minutes away. So next time I'm heading through that particular town where they have the Harley dealership and motorcycle repair facility, I will get the link and fix that. Okay, over here we have another hydroponic setup. These are not crafty. These are aerated, and we have tons of varieties of Salanova in here, and I've been pulling $4 a head out of these Salanovas. We also have some Kohlrabi here. We have some romaine here, and I have a few other places where I have romaine. And we do have more cell trays started on all of the products that are in here as far as planting. It's succession planting after another, after another, after another. So those things are all constantly going to be rotated. We have another fan in here. This is a fan that we got rid of from the house because the top used to like to keep falling off of it. And I told Mrs. Low Cash Home today, I'll just fix it. She says, no, just get rid of it. And so I just put a couple screws in it, and we're going to use it out here. I put a couple screws in it. I plan on hanging it upside down and letting it oscillate through here. The tube system we got rid of. The tube system works. The main issue that I have with it is I think it's going to work best on concrete because it keeps sinking in, and when it sinks in, it becomes out of PLS, that is plumb level square. And once it comes out of PLS, it develops overflows, like it'll overflow from the little cups in particular spaces and waste a whole lot of nutrient, which and then is wasting a lot of money. I put corn salad in this, it didn't come through. We're going to burn that down and redo it, and then we burn this one down. Here's the other thing. I cannot get rid of this comfrey. I'm hoping that if we, there's 10 inches of material on top of this comfrey and it's still coming through. And we're going to, we put control fabric down after this season like we've done in the other places. The same control fabric that I got turned on to by Living Traditions. And like I said, I was a little snarky with them. I wasn't trying to be an a-hole. I was just like, oh, who would have ever thought? And then I'm like, that's a really fantastic idea. So I never really used control fabric. I just did it all with mulch. But I'm finding the control fabric to be fantastic. We put beets in here. That's our second or third round of beets. And again, I just grow them till they're about 4 inches tall. I sell them off as beet greens. They do quite well that way, and it actually allows me to get more crops through rotation that way. Okay, that's most of the, that's pretty much the garden. And we've got quite a bit of work to do. It's, if you're a farmer or a gardener or a homesteader, you know that the work never stops. We have some general maintenance that we're gonna have to do in here, and it's basically just been deprioritized. I've been deprioritizing it. I'll do that tomorrow. This is more important. I'll do that tomorrow. This is more important. And so we're gonna have to come through and do a chop and drop and burn whatever all the little crap that comes through. This is actually a little bit of a corn stalk, and that is from the whole grains that we feed the chickens. I do feed my chickens grains. We move them around. They get to eat the grass and all that, but I also feed them grains. I have a video called high protein layer feed or something, and I give my birds lots of protein because they produce brilliant dark orange yolks that way. We're going to reseed this in carrot. And then over here we're looking at our EB table. That's our ebb and flow table. I use this primarily for seed starting and microgreens. We have a bunch of our Salanovas going here. These are hot peppers. A little trouble sourcing those. Again, you know, everybody's blaming COVID-19, sourcing. So we're going to turn that in on our CFAP application. And so the hot peppers are smaller, but the hot peppers cannot go next to the sweet peppers. We discussed that. This is a mustard green. We have another variety. Oh, this is rutabaga. I've never grown that before, and I need to get it out of the trays. It's starting to get big. We have more specialty lettuces here. I kind of foobarred on the tumbling toms. Most of my tumbling toms did not make it, so I'm not going to mess with the tumbling tom baskets this season. Maybe a couple, and also sourcing the baskets has been an issue. More Salanovas here. These are our Merlot Chinese cabbages and our Swiss chards. These are going to go, we're going to split these up between ground and hydroponic. It's kind of late for Swiss chards, I know, but they're going to go in the shade with the sprinklers and also in a hydro bed. Now that second hydro bed is going to be a Crafty bed simply because I'm not going to run another power line over here. We have more watermelons, more pumpkins, more cantaloupes. These are all coming out. Lots and lots of sunflowers, more tomato starts. The pak choi, I'm just having a really hard time with pak choi this year. And I was discussing this with another farmer at market, and she was having problems with some of her leafy greens as well. Simply the temperature fluctuations this time of year. In Missouri, that's kind of normal, but not usually this early in the year for those kinds of temperature fluctuations. Lots of leftover tomato starts. I've been making a killing on these tomato starts because I've started 500 to 700 thousands of plants actually, and I think 700 of them were just tomatoes initially, and there's 300 in there plus some that I gave to my friends, and I've been selling them off for $2 a piece at market, and at $2 a piece, man, I'm making a killing on just tomato starts. We've got, I told you I had to leave room for more squashes. These are acorn squashes. We've got more sunflowers coming up like madness. We've got more cantaloupes over there. We had to leave room in the melon garden for all of that as well. And then over there, where the grass is still kind of high, because I can't get my tractor back there, we have to, especially since I skewed the garden a little bit more to take advantage of that shade, I really can't get the tractor back down in there, so I have to cut it down with the Toro, the weed eater. And so, but it's just been wet. And so we're going to cut that down. I've already cut the parts and built all the components for the next hydroponic box, which will be a Crafty box, simply because I'm not going to run power over there. I've got stuff running all over the place. And what I've actually tried to do is consolidate how many tubes I have running over places, because when I maintain the lawn, it's that much more that I have to do. Now I've been managed to do a lot of that by running supply lines down this little space between the baseboards and the boxes for the carrots. Also, this is not PT wood. I know PT wood is safe to use these days, but I cannot use PT boxes and maintain a certified naturally grown certificates. I cannot maintain certified naturally grown and use PT lumber. The two don't go together as far as their standards to go. So that's a look at our garden. And then up front, which I'm not going to show you, we just have some asparagus boxes and stuff. I expand those usually like a box a year, and that's 3 to 5 plants. Nothing fancy. It barely produces enough asparagus for us. It's nothing marketable. We're going to work on that in the future, but I'm also probably going to put those somewhere else. And then we still have to prep a corn patch, and time's getting short on getting the corn patches in, but with our growing methods, I don't think it's going to be an issue for that corn to grow quickly and produce abundantly. I really don't think it will be, because not only are we putting fertilizers in the ground, but we are dosing each plant, each garden, with appropriate nutrients for its for what's in that garden. And I've got about 5 different kinds of organic fertilizers. One is Miracle Organics, one is a Job's, the other one is a Bontacare. That's what happens when I stand out in the rain. We're using Master Blend, but that is not for anything CNG. That is for our hydro stuff. Hydro stuff cannot be certified CNG. Certain types of hydroponics actually can be certified as organic, so that's why I went with the certified naturally grown. It leads more towards natural practices, in my opinion. Okay, so that's basically a look at our garden, and right now I'm doing something you're never, ever supposed to do, and that is stand under a tree during a storm. But I'm doing it right now because I'm getting soaked. And starting to get soaked. Mrs. Locash home said by the time she made it over to the house, man, she was wet from the rain. Probably anyway. I can't help it. I just can't help it. Anyway, you guys have a fantastic and wonderful day. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hey, I just wanted to remind you, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the video, click like. If you think this is the dumbest, stupidest video on the planet, or even if you just don't like it, hit the thumbs down. I'm totally okay with that. You guys have a great day.